Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Media Buffering Podcast. This is our second episode. I am joined today by Quentin,
Hello, people.
and as always, the wonderful, handsome Matthew.
What's up, mortals?
Why didn't I get that one?
Because
feel
I
like you're
felt
playing
like doing a
favorites.
bit. Because I
Like
felt like doing a bit, but I'd already said your name, so I couldn't. I
the
couldn't.
time had passed.
Yeah, the time had passed.
I get it. That's usually how it works with me.
I mean, at least I said your name first.
You
Yeah,
know
you
what?
got top
I'll
billing.
take that victory.
Yeah. So some of our news actually relates to the subject and actually inspired me to suggest this, but we'll get to that last, just as a better tie-in. So first, the most recent news that has broken as of yesterday, the popular website OnlyFans has decided it is going to ban pornography from its service, which makes absolutely no sense at all. I don't get it.
My life's not going to be affected.
Yeah, it's really just sort of another company shooting them in the foot. And I'm not the first one to bring up the comparison, but Tumblr had a similar thing happen, and look at the state of it. But it looks like no one really learned their lesson from that, so we'll do it again.
Yeah, Tumblr has like 17 people on it right now.
It's weird. Maybe it's just because I'm in a Discord server with people that use it a lot, but I've been hearing a lot more about stuff being posted on Tumblr now than I did before that happened.
It's like Tumblr is now a haven for like smaller groups, but it's like it's not like a social media platform that everyone flocks to or talks about. It's like the people who are there and they enjoy it.
I hear you.
Like people, are constantly like going to Reddit and joining subreddits and stuff like that. And then that doesn't really happen on Tumblr. Tumblr is basically just maybe some people will join like a couple like 1,000 or so a year, but it's not what it used to be, certainly.
Not nearly. But yeah, it's one of those things. They're doing it again. They say for the banking partners.
Yeah, for investors and banking partners and all that sort of thing.
It's just another instance of a company forgetting where the money is coming from.
And also,
The
who
bank.
started their platform in the first place? That like all of OnlyFans is known for its adult content, I guess.
I was most curious about what they originally planned. Like the creator of OnlyFans, what was he thinking, or she? I
Yeah,
don't
was
know
this
who
just
made it.
not on their list at all of things to happen? Like,
Yeah, what were they thinking their site was going to go towards? You know?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, we were all talking about it earlier, and I mean, ultimately, what their new business model seems to be is just a worse version of Patreon.
yeah,
Because I mean, from what I've seen of how OnlyFans works, you pay to be able to access the OnlyFans, but then the content on that OnlyFans is also still behind a paywall most times. So you like pay twice.
no. You can pay to get the subscription for most the ones that I've seen at least, and maybe you can put another wall down for particular content.
Yeah,
But
I've
from what I've seen, it's been like you pay to see all the posts on OnlyFans. Some creators will have a thing where it's like, oh, here's a teaser for a video, and if you tip a certain amount on this video, then you get the full video.
So are
Um,
you speaking from personal experience, Matt?
absolutely.
because to me it seems like it's Patreon, but even after you pay the money for Patreon, you might still have to pay money to see the content.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the direction we're going, right? Like, look at most video games, or honestly, look at Disney Plus with hey, you're paying the monthly subscription, and then a new movie comes out and you have to pay for that too.
So you're saying we had games as a service, movies and shows as a
And
service.
now
Porn
porn
is
as
a
a service.
service.
Nice.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The whole world is becoming that, I guess.
That's unfortunate.
And I mean, to be fair, a lot of the content creators that are putting another layer of limiting on their content, the first subscription is like $1 to $5. and that just lets you see basic content, and then the extra stuff is if you're watching like videos or something like that, a particular like collabs and stuff like that.
I mean, I guess it's just confusing to me that this is what they've decided to do because I saw a couple, people talking about this on Reddit, and I think what they said really hits home to me. It's like if OnlyFans is gonna try and become, family friendly, OnlyFans is for anyone. It already has the reputation now. No one's gonna say, "Yeah, I followed this guy on OnlyFans"
Yeah,
in
yeah,
public
I
without.
hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, like no one's gonna say, "Hey, did you see that OnlyFans video the other day?" No, no one's gonna say that because that's just gonna have that stigma already attached to it.
I hear you. Yeah,
and
yeah.
of course, a big part of this is that the not headquarters, but like the people that run OnlyFans are from the UK, and UK is pretty anti-sex work. Granted, most of the world is anti-sex work in general, in the way like the government works, but that's got to have an effect on it. But also, they're making a new like a branching streaming service called OFTV, which
No,
from
no,
what I
yeah,
can tell is just the
that's
same.
yeah. So they announced OFTV, and they said it was going to be separate, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay." So OnlyFans is going to have two businesses because since OnlyFans is adult content, it can't really have like an app on the App Store because iOS doesn't allow adult content in apps. So so now it'll have an iOS app. It's like, okay, so this is if people want to do, for whatever reason, family friendly, okay for everyone content on OFTV. But everyone was under the impression that the normal adult content that everyone pays for on OnlyFans anyway, that would stay. And then like the day after, it was revealed, "Oh yeah, so we're not going to have pornography on our service anymore. None of that."
That's kind of odd that you'd have two systems then, because that would mean that you'd want one to do something and the other to do something else. So,
Well,
so maybe they're trying to like the idea that it's OFTV. Maybe that's supposed to be more professional.
I mean, I guess what I'm thinking is that OFTV is now just the same thing. They were just saying it was separate, but now that they're gonna ban adult content, effectively what they're trying to do is make OFTV their main hub.
Yeah, and I feel like that sort of like we were talking about the reputation that OnlyFans has. OFTV is an acronym probably on purpose to sort of distance itself, at least by name, directly from OnlyFans
I could
as a
see.
brand.
I also feel like a big reason why even Tumblr took the more risque stuff off of their site. I think that it has to do with advertisers. Advertisers don't want to be advertising on that, right? The
For
majority of the
some weird
big
reason.
brands are like, we don't want to advertise Coca Cola, you know, while they're jacking off. I guess. Can I say that?
I
Can I say
I
that?
would have rathered that you didn't say that, but I mean I can't really change that now, can I?
That's movie magic. That's how we edit it out if we want.
To answer your
No.
question, no, morally speaking, you cannot say that.
But physically,
Just barely. We'll let you get away with it.
This time we will allow it.
can he say that? Like legally?
Like legally?
Um, so on to the next topic. We have some news out of Marvel and DC to some extent, more so the comic side. There was a lot of controversy regarding the treatment of comic creators and comic writers and how they are treated and paid after, movies starring their uh their characters effectively are made. So it was an article that came out a few weeks ago, and they talked to a couple bigger, well-known creators like Ed Brubaker or Ed Brubaker, who is the original, who him and another individual basically created the Winter Soldier. They didn't create Bucky Barnes. Bucky Barnes was already a character, but they turned him into the Winter Soldier effectively. He told some stories about how he was treated. There were a couple other anonymous sources where apparently DC is better in that they have a sort of equity program, is what they call it. So whenever your characters or your stories are used, you kind of get a little bit of revenue from that because they're effectively taking what you did and reworking it. Just like you would do that if you were adapting a book or a video game into another thing, that original company would get some money because they gave you the permission to do it in the first place. But Marvel doesn't have it to the same extent and also doesn't tell its creators about it. So whenever they were talking to the people at Marvel about it, a lot of them were like, "Wait, you can do that?" So an anonymous source, their quote was, "I've been offered a special character contract," is what the article called it, but whatever they had referred it to. That was really, really terrible, but it was that or nothing. And then instead of honoring it, they send a thank you note and are like, here's some money we don't owe you. And it's 5 grand. And like the movie made $1 billion. So,
Are you talking about like it's just not fair because they're not getting royalties?
I mean, they're just not getting anything at all.
Isn't that what the Scarlett Johansson thing was all about as well?
Yeah, a lot of people are connecting this to that. Yeah, cuz it's technically still Disney cuz it's Marvel. So, a lot of people are kind of drawing comparisons of, yeah, they're just treating everyone this way. Another thing was Ed Brubaker and I have his name written down here. Steve Epting, both of whom are the creators of The Winter Soldier. Whenever that movie came out, they went to the premiere and they got dressed up and they were all excited. And then they go to the premiere and they were not allowed in. They weren't on the list to get in. They had to call Sebastian Stan, the actor who plays the Winter Soldier, just to get into the movie. Like these people are not being respected at all. Like without them, these movies wouldn't exist.
Is this not like sort of how the screenwriter strike happened so many years ago?
I mean, kinda, yeah. I suppose it is somewhat
Yeah,
similar.
it was you're not making enough money, you're not being respected, you're not being treated correctly. So honestly, if that were to happen again, you know, one, would that be so terrible? Two, also, does that mean that it's just a vicious cycle that it'll always happen? Is that they'll always be creeping into let's treat our writers horribly until there's some big event like a strike, and then it's like, okay, now we'll treat you with some respect.
Well, I mean, the most profitable option is to not give them what they deserve. So yeah, eventually, at any point, it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Just have to reset.
if effectively what they do is they try to like, shortchange them and then hope that they don't say anything because they have been giving creators money but only when they complain. So like the creator of Thanos argued that he was not given enough money for what they did with Thanos in both of the Avengers movies, and so they gave him more money. One of the writers who I guess helped work on Loki, Roy Thomas, negotiated a whole bunch of money through his agent because of the Loki show. So they're getting money by putting up a fight. They have to put up a fight to get the money in the first place, which I guess is what Scarlett Johansson is trying to do as well. Another anonymous source said that what they have to do sometimes is whenever they haven't been given their like checks for their quote unquote royalties, they go to Target and they take pictures of the action figures of the characters that they created and they're like, "Hey, where's my money?" So they have to just go out and find stuff that they know people are buying and saying, "So people are buying these things. Where's my money for the things that are being sold?"
I'm kind of curious about that. Who owns that IP then? The creator of Loki owns Loki, or
Well, no,
Disney
it's
commissioned
like
it?
the way it works is that it's very much a system of, yes, this is a contractual thing, but is it right? Where everything you write when you work at Marvel, Marvel then owns. These people don't own those characters, but it's effectively an honor system of, hey, I created it though. Can I at least be given some money for the thing that I did?
Yeah, I think the idea of putting anything into an honor system when it's a multinational conglomerate probably not the best idea.
Yeah, which is the point. And they're supposed to have a built-in system for that, but like I said, apparently Marvel just doesn't market it as well as DC does because they asked a whole bunch of people who worked there and they were like, "That's a system that we have here. We can get equity for the things that we create. That's a thing we can do." I didn't know that. So it's it's just another example of, I guess, Disney, in this case, the Marvel side, like the comic side of Marvel, just completely shafting its employees and kind of screwing them over. Because, like I said, these properties would not exist without them. And I mean that creator of the Winter Soldier, who I mentioned earlier, all he feels now is just he just feels cynical because people, tweet at him and ask him, "Hey, what do you think of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show?" And he's just thinking about how frustrated he is that he's not really getting any money from it. And I can't necessarily blame him
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
because I mean now, I mean after he's being treated, and even the studio isn't even putting him or his partner who helped create the character on the list to the movie about their character. It's like if they didn't invite J.K. Rowling to the premiere of the Harry Potter movies. Like what are we doing here? It's unfortunate. Nowadays a lot of everything just requires having like a presence on Twitter or some sort of platform to state your grievances to get any sort of attention. Because I mean, who really looks at comic book writers in the public eye? This had to be a Guardian article in order for people to get any eyes on this at all, which is just unfortunate. And Scarlett Johansson just had to sue first before really stating her case publicly. So,
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. What about you, Matt?
I don't know because it's like technically Marvel owns the rights to the characters, so it's like there's no necessary precedent for you to get paid for just the appearance and name of a character that's being like their rendition is being changed depending on the actual writers of the movies and everything else other talent that's going into it. And granted, like you made a character, of course, but I don't think that makes so much owed to you for the use of the name and appearance of the character. I feel like you do need some amount of getting paid, but didn't you get paid by Marvel?
I mean, how much do they get paid by Marvel is the other question.
That's between them and Marvel.
Because and I mean, I get that, but at the same time, it's like in that in that anonymous sources statement, they're like, I get $5,000. The movie makes $1 billion.
Well, that's the problem with even with The Witcher, with Andrzej Sapkowski. Whenever he sold the rights to the books to be made into games to CD Projekt Red, and they made the games, he sold it for a lump sum. He was like, "Here, I don't know how much exactly it was. Say it was like $5,000." I was like, "Okay, I'll give you the rights to my books so you can make some games for $5,000, and we'll call it good." Okay, they made the first game, didn't do quite well. They made the second game, did a lot better. They made the third game, and that's rated as one of the best RPGs ever made. Then he got mad because he said, "Your game made $1 billion, and I made 5,000 10 years ago." Now, when you're talking about morally, yeah, that's kind of, hey, you should probably help the person who created, everything that you're basing your game off of, the characters you've borrowed, the world you've inherited. But also, he said 5,000 was good, right? 10 years ago, because he didn't think the games would do well.
These people didn't really sign a contract in terms of movies, though. They were just like, yeah, you can, use the character in your comics from now on because I'm a still work here.
My thing is, I think that it comes down to you're getting paid for the use of your character. How much the movie made is like by the the talent of the people making the movie, the writers, the actors, visual effects artists. You made a character. You didn't really add to this particular movie. You're not getting paid for your personal work for the movie. You're getting paid for the use of your
But
character,
if
for
someone
having
is
that name.
going to a movie to see Iron Man, the character Iron Man, the person who created the character of Iron Man still did that. Sure, maybe the Winter Soldier is like a smaller example of that because until recently he was like a side role in the universe. But
You deserve recognition for creating the character, of course, but I think when it comes to like the monetary value of the movie itself versus the monetary value of the character that you gave over is, or not gave over, but like let them use, is different. Like if somebody gives me like the name, if like we're trying to make a movie and we ask this person we can use their character, if like in an unpopular character, or even a popular character, we take it and we just put a bunch of money into it in the visual effects. We get top notch actors, everything. We do very well, make like billions of dollars. Oh, assuming that we like paid the guy first and gave recognition in the movie. You don't deserve like a percentage of the movie's revenue. You didn't put in a percentage of the movie's work. You let us use the character. We pay for the character.
And there are contracts that do that. Like J.K. Rowling makes residual of I don't know like 5% off all the Harry Potter movies.
and a lot of the merch too. I think she gets like some of the money from the park or whatever too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at
Yeah, and then but in that case,
George
she
Lucas.
owns the rights to the books at least, and that is what gives you like the rights to it is what legally is the thing that gives you that the ability to make that deal for a percentage of the value. But if you're just the creator of it, like you don't have the rights to it, anything, you're just the creator of the character, yeah, creator of the character. That's it. Then I mean, you just get paid for using it. If someone made like a prop or something that Marvel uses in a movie later on, you get paid for using your prop. There's no, I don't see any reason why you would get paid like something relative to the amount of money made off the movie as a whole.
Well, I mean, if like even beyond a character, like say you wrote like and like a plot line, like the extremis plot line from Iron Man 3. And they use that plot line. They use extremis, they use the characters from extremis in nearly the same way, maybe changing a few characters here or there, adding the fake version of the Mandarin.
Mandarin.
But like you technically wrote a portion of that story as well.
I
And the
suppose.
Winter Soldier, part of his character is that story of he used to be Bucky Barnes, he was taken by Hydra, he was turned into an assassin. That they used in that movie. They didn't obviously the Shield is Hydra thing is original, yeah. But Bucky Barnes' entire story, which is a significant portion of that movie, they also wrote. They technically are kind of writing bits and pieces of this movie.
So going back to Matthew's prop example though, where do you draw the line then? Does it have to be like okay, you wrote half the movie, so you get a cut of the actual sales, but if you only make a prop that's used in two
I don't
scenes, you don't get any?
I don't even think it's a cut of the sales. I just think they need more money than $5,000 when they know these movies are going to make a lot of money.
My thing is, you get paid for what you made. If you didn't make the movie, you don't get paid for the making of the movie. You get paid for what you made, which are the characters and the stories.
I think it's a big separation of moral and legal argument because I think that yeah, very much legally they pretty much
Oh yeah,
agreed to this
I'm
was
not
the situation.
yeah, I'm not even talking about legalese. Obviously legally Marvel can do whatever they want with the
Yeah.
contract. Just like legally technically Disney can do whatever they want when it comes to the Scarlett Johansson thing because it's in the contract.
Right.
But
Yeah.
morally, should they not be respecting the people who helped them make the thing? Like I said, the Winter Soldier story was made by those people. The Extremis story was made by other people.
Yeah, I think that they should be respected more. Like even just talking about how they weren't allowed into the premiere of their own movie, pretty
Oh yeah,
much.
definitely.
They had to text one of the actors and be like, "Hey, remember
Hey,
us?" He's
dude,
like,
playing the character I created. Well, would you come out and let us in?
"Yeah, can you let us into the movie because they don't want us to be there?"
I think that's wrong. But definitely, like I said, multinational conglomerate, you can't trust them.
Oh, of course not.
So it's I hate to say it, that's business.
It's just
Just good
good
business.
business.
That's
Yeah,
life.
people ain't cargo, mate.
But yeah, it's frustrating for me as a creator to see this type of stuff happen because I just feel it's very rude, and I think that they 100% do have a moral obligation to pay them more money. I'm not saying a cut of the sales, I'm just saying these movies are going to make millions of dollars if not $1 billion. Give them a couple, like give them like 50,000 or something dollars. 5,000 is nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I mean, I also don't know what those people even want in the first place. Like how much money they feel their work is worth, and I think that also kind of comes into play because some of them might want more than what they may or may not deserve, and others may want a little less. They're willing to, receive less because, like you said, Matthew, they didn't work on the movie, so they would take a smaller cut.
If I had the option, if I was the one writing those characters or writing the story or anything like that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take 5% of all sales. Like, could you imagine that? It's a big gamble because you could be like, hey, I'm gonna take 5% of all sales, but I'll take no money up front. If that movie fails, you're kind of, the doghouse.
It's
But
Marvel. That movie's not gonna
when it comes to
fail.
Marvel, it's like, yeah, you're about to make some bank. They probably wouldn't do 5%. It's probably less than 1%. But say it is 1%. $1 billion, you're making some money.
Yeah, you'd be set for a while at least. But moving on to our next topic. So we got a whole bunch of shows that have been, greenlit in the past couple weeks that have been spoken about, and a lot of these are kind of what brought on today's topic. First of all, they have announced that they will be making a show set in the Alien universe on FX, kind of expanding that world, I guess. Though it's also going to be set on Earth.
Okay, so like the Wayland Yutani Corporation?
Uh, yes.
Y'all know what that is. Okay, never mind.
I don't remember that.
It's
That's the
it's
people trying to collect the alien.
yeah, that's the people who are sending all these ships out to collect the aliens without telling them, hey, this is your fucking job.
Hey,
Oh,
you're
okay.
fodder to collect.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's been a while since I've seen those movies, so I don't remember all the names. But I guess so.
I only knew about it because of the AVP video game on the PS3.
Yeah. It the way they describe this, it feels very AVP because it is going to be on Earth apparently. It's going to explore what happens when the tagline that they had given is that it's going to explore what happens when the aliens cannot be contained on Earth.
Earth falls. That's what happens when they cannot be contained. It took predators fighting off the aliens to save us in AVP 1 and 2 and 3.
There's a third one?
Yeah, there's 3,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, the third one's where
I
there's
think. Wait, no,
the alien predator.
No, that's
no,
the
no. That's the
second
second
one.
The
one.
second one? I don't know. There's too many
AVP
movies.
Requiem, I think it's called.
Yeah, AVP Requiem is the second one because the like pred alien as they call it
Yeah,
was the stinger in the end credits of the first movie, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
then it was the second
Uh,
movie where they actually fought it, and it was, yeah.
and the face hugger got oh god, what's his name? Not not Chopper, I don't think. I forget the name of the predators in AVP.
But yeah, so they're doing that on FX.
I'm pretty
HBO.
sure Earth just collapses.
I
Like,
mean, probably Ridley Scott is apparently working on this though. He's not like the director, but
is this
he is
also
involved.
supposed to be set in the future? Like, can Ripley show up?
I would assume Ripley is not going to show up because I don't think FX has the budget to ask her to be in this
Sigourney
show.
Weaver to come back. How old is she now? She could still fight some aliens,
What is
right?
she, like 60 maybe?
She can
50?
fight some aliens.
I mean, Sigourney Weaver still does stuff, so I mean, I'm sure she could.
I don't think there's any age that Sigourney Weaver could be that I wouldn't believe that she could fight an alien.
That's fair.
That's really fair.
Uh, HBO Max is due to the success of Distant Lands. They are doing another spin-off of Adventure Time, this time focusing on Fiona and Cake, which
Cool.
Matt, you are a resident Adventure Time fan. And then finally, this would have been in the news segment in our last episode, but I wound up cutting it. Netflix announced that they are going to make a live action Pokemon show. I would assume similar to what Detective Pikachu was.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
So seeing all these shows announced very much made me think about how all of these are kind of expand the worlds that they're created somewhat. Well, I mean, in Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake is like a story that the Ice King is telling,
Yeah,
right?
Fiona and Cake is an Ice King fanfic. Yeah.
So like this is just gonna explore that
I'm
world of
sorry, what?
yeah.
Yeah, it's all an Ice King fanfic.
Is he writing it or is he telling this over a campfire? What is this?
I forget.
I think
He's definitely not telling it over a
I
campfire. I'm
think
pretty sure
like
he's just writing it, if I remember
I
correctly.
think like someone was captured and so he was like telling them a bedtime story or something like that. I know I've seen like the clip from the ad for the Fiona and Cat episode or Cake episode.
I'm gonna have to look it up because that
Yeah,
just sounds too funny.
There were like
it's hilarious.
3 of them, I think.
Yeah, I think
Also,
Could
thereabouts.
you imagine that the Ice King captures somebody just because he wants to tell someone his story?
That is the Ice King, really.
also, Donald Glover is a voice of one of the characters in the Fiona and
Yeah,
Cake
Donald
things.
Glover is Marshall Lee.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're gonna recast him or maybe Donald Glover is just gonna come back for the HBO show.
That'd
Who
be cool.
knows?
HBO's got that money.
Yo,
HBO does have that money.
in Adventure Time songs, "Good Little Girl." I don't know why Donald Glover went so hard on that one. He had no reason to. It is good.
It's Donald Glover.
Yeah, Donald Glover just does whatever he wants at, at peak level.
Wait a minute. If he makes a song for a show like that, does he write it as Donald Glover or is it Childish Gambino?
I don't even. I mean, if he did write it,
I would assume it's Donald Glover because it's the actor in the show and not the character or like his persona of Childish Gambino in the show.
Yeah, okay, okay. I thought, yeah. That makes sense to
although I
me.
would love to be able to call it my favorite Childish Gambino song, even though if we consider it one, it still isn't true.
Oh my
The
god.
sentence itself, I would love to say.
It's like if he ever wrote music for like Sesame Street, and it's like, oh yeah, this Childish Gambino Sesame Street cover.
Yeah, yeah.
And finally, on to I guess it's kind of two topics smushed into one because it's the same subject matter. We had some news regarding Avatar: The Last Airbender. First of all, and most interesting to all of us, is they announced their role-playing game,
Yeah, the
which seems
TTRPG.
really, really cool. Didn't it reach its like GoFundMe goal in like the first day or something?
Yes, in like
Yeah, it's
5 hours,
exceeded it
it won like
significantly.
$50,000. 5 hours, it got there, and then in like 7 hours or something like that, it reached 1 million. Last time I checked it, it was at 5,800,000. So I bet you it's over 6 right now.
I can only imagine, assuming they put that money to good use, how much they could actually do with that money.
I want chi blockers, please.
Well, I mean, what was it? We were talking the other day about the possibility of them making add-ons.
Yeah, like different expansions,
Yeah, just like D&D, I guess.
or like as they make the new shows in like the new Avatar studios, if they do new like timelines, like they do stuff after Korra or something like that, you could do that.
I will say the one thing about it is that from what we've seen, it doesn't look like it. There's a lot of rules behind it, and or like I should say a lot of rules. It's not as rule heavy as like 5e. It's from what I can what I've been able to tell. It's similar to
5e
like
being D&D.
yeah, D&D Fifth Edition. Um, it seems a lot more similar to a system called Fate Core. That's a lot more storytelling based. So like if you just have these actions you can do that are pretty general in time frame and what you can get away with, and sort of everything is sort of on a case by case rule basis, especially when it comes to the GM.
But Quinn
These
and
are a
I,
lot of nouns, bro.
but yeah, and Quinn and I were talking about
That's
it
for
the
all the
other day too.
TTRPG nerds.
Is that yeah? So Quinn and I were talking about this the other day, and we were saying that ultimately, regardless of whether like these rules work or don't work or are as deep or are not as deep
Oh
as D
yeah,
and
yeah.
D,
We're gonna be doing whatever we want.
yeah, like people can now make their homebrew much easier because not only do you have the basics there, also in order to make you able to play in all these different time periods, which is one of the cool aspects of the role playing game, is that you can play in different time periods, different eras. They are going to explain what those eras are for you to be able to accurately play through them, or at least have like a basic campaign that gives you the basic gist. So now that we have this new lore, people can do whatever they want with it. They can just use the lore and play a D&D based game at this point. So ultimately, it doesn't matter the quality of the game itself because as long as they are giving basic information, people can do whatever they want with it, which is what I think is the coolest part. Even if it's quote unquote bad, which I don't think it will be.
Yeah, no, I mean that the having looser rules isn't bad. I vibe more with that actually, but it's just for there are some people that play like D&D 5th edition and other more what's the word people use, crunchy, more crunchy games that just enjoy that on a higher level, and some people who like more fluff in their games, which I enjoy a lot of fluff because storytelling just lets you be badass as much as you want to. Uh, but yeah, it's just certain people have their preferences.
I like fluff too. You get it on a peanut butter and fluff sandwich. That's some
What
good
are
stuff.
you
What?
talking about?
Peanut butter and fluff?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know the little
What are the
marshmallow.
ingredients that go into fluff?
Oh, I think he's talking about marshmallow fluff. That's what he's
Yeah, yeah.
now.
Marshmallow fluff?
You don't know about that?
Yeah, but I don't call it fluff. I call it marshmallow fluff. Otherwise, when you just say fluff, I'm gonna be confused.
I don't know what either of these words mean.
These are a lot of nouns.
These are a lot of nouns.
But the other thing regarding Avatar, The Last Airbender, is that they have announced the cast for the Netflix show. There are, of course, a lot of feelings about the Netflix show because the original creators left. Personally, I'm keeping my mind open and waiting for any sort of trailers before I formulate any opinions. There are a lot of leaks going around out there that show that the story has shifted a lot. I am not going to say those leaks here because I don't know if they're true or not, and I don't want to contribute to misinformation if they are untrue.
Zuko fucking dies. Is that one of them? Did I just guess that?
No,
Okay.
no. There are changes to Zuko in the leak, but again, I don't know if it's true or not.
I'm not going to say these, not spread misinformation. You
Yeah.
just guessed the exact.
I just guessed the entire plot.
But yeah, so the I only really saw one article talking about the leaks, but then again, it was the only article that came up with leaks regarding the show because apparently they leaked the cast too. So everything else is just about the cast leaking. But it was only one article that I could find that showed those story leaks, so I'm not even gonna mention them. The only other thing that people have been talking about that isn't in the leaks is apparently they didn't want a Aang Katara relationship in the show, which if that's the case, I don't really think that matters in the grand scheme of things.
Zuko Tar. Wait, hold on.
Zutara?
The
Zutara, yeah, that's
Zuko Tar?
yeah.
Zuko
Matthew here,
Tara.
Matthew
No,
here is a
Zutara.
fan of Zutara.
Listen,
I'm
I
listening.
came up with the ship name before I ever looked it up on the internet. It's always Zuko Tara.
It's not, I'll tell you right now, but okay.
Uh, I don't believe you exist.
Yeah, I don't either sometimes.
What? Anyway, uh, from there, I think it's it's a good time to transition into the main topic. since we've been talking about, things being put into shows and their worlds expanded on, that is what today's topic is. We are going to be talking about different stories that could be expanded through other movies, through games, through shows. Who wants to go first? Who has a suggestion, I suppose?
I mean, something that should be expanded in any way, shape, or form is the universe of Treasure Planet.
Oh, absolutely.
You bring up Treasure Planet every single time.
I mean, that's just a movie that needs to be expanded upon. Who thought of that? Like, obviously, we know who came up with the story of that, but I mean, that is such a nifty, crazy idea.
Like
That
pirate
why
ships in space
like actual pirate ships in space, like boats like made of wood.
that somehow, without explanation, you can just breathe in space.
Yeah, yeah, because like there's air in space or something like that in that world. I don't know. They could come up with some stupid
Did they
thing.
ever explain that?
I don't believe
I
so.
think they just accepted it as a fact. Like there's
Yeah,
just you can just breathe.
yeah.
Fair
It was just
enough.
one of those things where you were in space and they were breathing. So obviously in this world that makes sense now.
I wonder if that would even. Well, I mean, I guess it could work. I know Disney tried to do that. They tried to do that with Atlantis: The Lost Empire. They had the like sequel direct to like video movie of
I didn't
Milo's
see that one.
Return,
Didn't see it.
which is basically what it was. It was a pilot for them to make a TV show, but because it was, to video, not that many people watched it. I thought it was really interesting whenever I watched it for the first time because basically it's looking at these different societies and how they have like different connections to the Atlanteans. And there's a part of the movie because the movie is structured like a bunch of little mini episodes. They go to different areas and learn new things. There's like this one town that's one of like those old like stories of this small town that's like next to the ocean and it's always stormy and they have like the one lighthouse, but there's like a sea
And there's fish
monster
people and
and there's a fish monster and the fish monster isn't. I think it's either real and is like an Atlantean creature that is just like misunderstood. It's not trying to do bad stuff, or someone found Atlantean technology and pretended to be a fake monster. It was one of the two. But
well, I mean, yeah, they had in the very first movie they had the giant lobster thing that was chasing them down. That was like automated, right? There wasn't people in that.
yeah, yeah. And then there was like another one where they go into the desert and they find like kind of like old school deserty in indigenous like tribes somehow had communication with people from Atlantis at one point in history. And it was a cool concept. It's just no one watched it. So I think Disney has definitely tried to branch out like that before. But I mean, I feel like Atlantis and Treasure Planet are the two Disney movies that people consider to be the most underrated and love, like have like the most cult following behind them.
Well, I mean, Disney didn't even really try to market either of those
Yeah, you look up what
significantly.
happened with Treasure Planet, and to some lesser extent, Atlantis. They didn't care.
But yeah,
They're like, these are interesting concepts. Let's just send them
they
out to die.
I believe like the director tried to do stuff with Treasure Planet afterwards, right? Like didn't he want a show or something like that?
I don't know.
I know there was like a whole
All I know is that the two guys that came up with it were told, "Hey, give us a couple hits, and then we'll let you do the project you actually want to do." So they made like Hercules, they made Little Mermaid, and then finally, I think it was Katzenberg said, "Hey, I will allow you to make the project you actually want to make, which was Treasure Planet." So they made it, and because he was just annoyed or something like that, that they kept on asking to make this project, he just didn't market it. He's like, "We're not going to put any marketing budget into it." Now, granted, this is all secondhand knowledge. Take it all with a grain of salt. I got all this from Lindsay Ellis from a video she made like 4 years ago. So, and I'm misremembering a lot, I'm sure.
yeah. I I think that there are plenty of Disney movies that can be expanded on. I mean, currently we have the Monsters at Work show because I think that is a cool universe. I think Zootopia is a cool universe to potentially explore and other stuff, and I think they are making a Zootopia show, like a Zootopia PD show.
Yeah, they're most likely not done with Zootopia yet.
Yeah, they gotta give the furries all that they can, all of the
I was gonna say,
resources.
Matt, they're not done with it, or the furries aren't done with it.
Yes.
I mean, the furries will never be done with it. It'll be 50 years from now. Disney's not doing anything with Zootopia anymore. And if the internet still exists and we're all still alive, the furries will still be doing stuff with Zootopia.
And Beastars.
I
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't seen Beastars.
Neither have I.
I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
I know of it, yeah. Uh, uh, One of the big things that I thought of, and I mean technically they are doing this. Amazon is making a Fallout show. Is basically any of the two Bethesda properties with Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Those shows very much lend themselves to expanded universe stuff because of how unique and interesting those worlds are. I know a long time ago, whenever they first announced the Fallout show, and I posted it in our group chat, Quentin and I started talking about the idea of making a Elder Scrolls show that just followed like a Khajiit caravan that just traveled around, and it was like a very slice of lifey kind of just world buildy show.
That'd be fun. That'd be really fun.
I think stuff like that really makes sense when you have like an expansive world with all this lore. You can set it in any time period you want, even in the future if you want, I suppose. And I think Fallout has a lot of cool stuff as well because I mean, let's just say you're tired of doing everything in North America. We don't know what other countries or continents even look like post Great War.
Right, yeah.
That's a big thing people keep bringing up on what they should do next with the games. But going back to your Elder Scrolls Khajiit caravan, yeah, I feel like that could be like old west films, where just walking around finding towns because like the towns there are kind of small, or like
An Oregon Trail type show.
oh come on, they're not gonna die of dysentery.
I mean, they'll die of freaking dragons, maybe.
They'll die of Imperials.
Skooma overdose.
Hey, that's racist.
It's not.
Isn't that Argonians?
It's both.
Oh. Oh, well.
It's Moon Sugar is the one that's the Khajiit.
Which moon sugar is refined into skooma.
Yes, and skooma's mostly for everyone.
You guys know a little bit too much about the skooma
Listen,
I
production.
know a lot about the drug trade.
Listen, I've been looking into too much Skyrim lore, or just general Elder Scrolls lore as well. I I don't I just don't know how to feel about it because I don't even like Skyrim that much, but the world is cool. And Quinn and I were talking the other night, and I just kept stating facts from games I've never played. I told him stuff that happened in Oblivion, and he's like, "How do you know that?"
There's so much stuff in the Elder Scrolls that's just like thousands upon thousands of years of lore that you're never going to see in the games. It's just stuff that happened in the past.
I mean, look at Elder Scrolls Online.
Exactly. That was all stuff that we sort of relatively knew about, but was never explored. I mean, look at the idea of Talos taking over all of Tamriel. I guess we don't really see that anywhere.
You could have that in like
That could be a game.
like like a show like The Crown or something like that. You have it in like that kind of like dramatic sort of
I feel
like
like it'd be more Game of Thrones because of how much
Game of
murder
Thrones
and
too.
bloodshed there's gonna be.
Like there's like you could do that. There's so many whenever you have worlds like this, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Going from Elder Scrolls Online and MMO that kind of explored a part of the world, you have similarly a prequel game in like the Old Republic, the MMO,
That's a game.
as well as just like the Knights of the Old Republic games.
Oh man, Knights of the Old Republic is one of the best games.
Those like Star Wars in itself, I think is
Is trash.
one of the prime. We heard that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I
Don't
know
look at
that you
me like
just said
that.
that to get my attention.
Don't look at me
I'm gonna
like
let it
that.
slide.
Star Wars is a prime example of how to use other mediums to kind of build your universe. You have the, Legends expanded universe now that no longer exists, but you had so many games, books, the silly shows like the Ewok shows and all that stuff. Like you had all that stuff expanding it, and now you have new books and new comics and The Mandalorian and the honestly incredible looking new anime show that they're doing.
I don't even watch anime, but I am gonna make it a point to watch those.
Are you gonna watch the dub or are you gonna watch the sub?
I will watch probably the dub because I am a cretin when it comes to anime.
I
I
think
don't
in
watch
this
anime.
case I'll allow it because they have
I'll allow
actual
it.
good like voice talent. Like they have like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it, bunch of good actors, and they had
Yeah,
like
I saw it was crap. What's his name? Professor X.
Uh,
oh um
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick
I'm
Stewart.
pretty sure I saw his name was on the
Is he on
list.
the list? I have it saved. Let me see if I
I'm
can.
pretty sure I saw it, and I was like, that can't be right.
I'm looking it up as we speak.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, so I don't watch anime at all. I've tried. I've tried watching like the first 2 episodes of Attack on Titan. I've tried watching, or I did watch back when it was on Toonami. Um, uh, One Piece, but I honestly tried to get back into it recently, and it's so hard to get into anime because all the anime-isms, all the weird shit going on, and all that.
Patrick Stewart is not in the show,
Oh man, I
but
was
we do
wrong.
have people like George Takei.
George Sakai, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we have. I don't know if this is the same actor, but for whatever reason, this specific name is making me think. I think the Shang-Chi actor is also in the show
No, that's
because
pretty
there's a
cool.
lot of episodes that are very much Japanese culturally like themed, so they have a whole lot of Asian voice talent, which is really cool that they're doing that. But you also have David Harbour, who is he was Hellboy. He's the sheriff in Stranger Things. He is Red Guardian in Black Widow. You have, like I said, Joseph Gordon-Levitt
I'm
earlier.
sorry. Whenever you
You have
said
Neil Patrick
Hellboy,
Harris,
when you said Hellboy, I was thinking
not
Ron
the
Perlman.
original one.
Okay, I was like,
I
wait
was
a
like,
The
the
second.
better
remake.
That is
one.
not the same person.
The remake, not the
We don't speak of that.
the bad one. From what I heard, I haven't seen the remake.
No, Ron Perlman is the only Hellboy.
You are not incorrect.
Yeah, I'm kind of partial. Yeah, it's Ron
I
Perlman.
haven't
Ron
seen those
Perlman.
movies in a long time. Honestly, they should do stuff with that.
I mean, they have the comic books, right?
Yeah, but you
There's your
can do
expanded world.
more.
You can. Like, honestly, when it comes to stuff like that, where it's like all this mythical stuff is going on, how does that affect the world on the whole? Like, it's supposed to be secret in the Hellboy universe. Like, all this stuff is hidden from the mortals, you know? But there's got to be, wars that have been fought. There's got to be stories that can definitely be told that are not being told. How did this come to be? What was the start of it all? That's how I feel about like fables.
I was about to say
Yeah,
Wolf Among Us.
there's gotta be some war that is gonna break out, has broken out. There's gotta be something because people don't like, having to hide who they are and all that, And that's what those stories are about. So there's something that's gonna go down.
Um, Real quick in the vein of the most of the things that we've talked about so far already have like expanded and established worlds. One of the movies that I want to see more of the world from is a little known movie called Push.
Starring Captain America himself.
Yes, indeed.
Didn't they leave that movie on a cliffhanger?
Yes, or not really a cliffhanger, more of just like one of those like not.
And the story continues.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
story
Push
continues.
was a really, really fun movie, though.
That was I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember when I watched it, I was like, what is going on? 'Cause they don't really explain a whole lot.
Yeah,
They're just like, this happens. And it's kind of like the whole thing that we were talking about earlier where with the breathing in space. It's like you just kind of accept, yeah, because everyone else thinks this is normal. This is just normal. Yeah, okay. People can just scream and shatter glass with sound waves. They're all
Didn't someone like use glass as powers in them? It's been so long.
I'm pretty sure someone did. There's also like no, it's a different movie.
I think I saw that movie in theaters, and that's the only time I ever saw it.
we had
It's
the
been
DVD
so
for it. I
long.
watched it so many times, man, because I was just enamored with like the powers, the effects, the way that things were. It's just the world just seemed so cool because all these people had powers, and I just wanted to see more of it. Have more stories with the.
Pre-Captain America, Chris Evans.
Sorry.
I said pre-Captain America,
Oh yeah.
Chris Evans. Was that
I thought you
after
said
he
bring
did?
Captain America, Chris Evans. I'm like,
No,
we
no,
don't
no.
need Captain America and Push.
Is that like him in between Fantastic Four and Captain America? I feel
I
like
think it
that
might be
came out in
before
between.
Fantastic Four.
I think it was before Fantastic Four.
It's
Okay.
an old ass movie.
And then There's like the other one where he's like in space trying to like revive the sun. That one is in between, I think.
Trying to revive the sun.
Yeah, like
CPR.
yeah, like the sun stops spinning or stops being on fire or something. I
The
don't know.
sun stops being
It's
on
called like
fire.
Star something. So
Star Citizen.
no, that's a game.
Star Citizen Kane.
Star Citizen Kane. That is the hit movie from 3029. Yeah.
Star Citizen Kane.
The
Probably gonna be
sun ran
just as overrated as the original.
the sun ran out of fire. That's ridiculous.
I don't remember what it was. It's like some plot thing where they have to like restart the sun. It was weird.
Did
It's a
they
sci-fi
fire
movie.
nukes into it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That checks out.
A nuclear option.
The nuclear. How do we restart nuclear fission?
I think another example, kind of to your point, where like it sort of has a pre-built world, but they don't really expand upon it, is like the Last of Us world is another one that they could do a lot of cool stuff in, just like other stories.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
stories
yeah.
you can tell,
I feel like
yeah, but the world's
there's
kind of the same everywhere you go, I'd
I mean, I
imagine.
guess,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
mean, Walking Dead did a lot of similar things where it's like a lot of interesting stories you can do inside the world of zombies. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
all of them
See,
feel very much the same.
I would love to see it expanded as long as the creators don't get caught up in the sense of needing to up the scale. Like if you just like you can just have another story of people living in this apocalypse. Now it'd be interesting. That'd be
Oh, like
fascinating.
like like
get
not trying to
another
like
Henry.
yeah, like not trying to like constantly one up themselves.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Rat King is as big of a infection problem that we need.
well, yeah, because Rat King is supposed to be an amalgamation of all the different types of infected from day one, right? It was like it's like
Yeah,
ground
yeah.
zero, day one. That's what they are.
I just don't want them to feel like they have to up the ante in terms of that. And I feel like The Walking Dead sort of fell into the pitfall over time, the show, of becoming like they couldn't have any more infected threats, so they had to have human threats, and everything just sort of became like monologuing villains. When you're in the apocalypse and there's no
Yeah,
reason for you not to just shoot
I
the person.
fell off of that show because of Negan. Like I watched the show whenever they were in ah fuck, I can't remember what the name of the city was with the governor.
Don't look at me. I couldn't get
Oh,
past season one of that show.
Sanctuary,
Not Sanctuary, it was something
not
Berry.
Sanctuary.
I don't know. Either way, so the governor, I was like, this is a bad guy, but this is like, a doable bad guy, right? Because he's like, he's got one town, he's deceiving everybody around him, so all it takes to have his whole world crumble is to get the truth out, right?
Right.
Well, then you get to Negan, and he's not lying to anyone. He's saying, this is how I feel, this is how I view the world. Everyone around him is like, yeah, okay, cool, we're fine with this. And he owns multiple compounds. How are our heroes of 12 going to stop that? And I realized that in the show he did. I've been keeping very loose sight on it. But I feel like, even though I didn't watch how he beat Negan, I feel like it's contrived. Because honestly, Negan had armies of people.
The thing is that he didn't. There wasn't these 12 people take down his army. It was that Negan already had several people who were against him within the organization itself, and the 12 people basically joined the revolution. And of course, because Rick is Rick, he ended up at the top of that in the end. But
Right?
beyond that, it wasn't just like, oh, these 12-man army took them down. It was several factors working
I
together.
just I don't know. Like the moment that Negan's introduction happened, where he's sitting there, and the headlights are the only light, and he's got them all down. He's like, I'm gonna kill one of you at least. After that opening of that season, I was like, I can't. This guy's too evil. He's too good. He's too like entrenched into this world. It didn't feel believable that anyone would be able to stop him, so I stopped watching. Like that might sound like sort of defeatist, but yeah, I was like, this guy's too fucking good. They have made too good a villain.
Yeah, I couldn't get past the first season of Walking Dead, which is like the one that everyone like says is the worst because it's super slow. So I never got into Walking Dead. I don't think it'd be that interesting because I don't find zombies that compelling unless you do something cool with them. I think Last of Us did in that it's like different stages of a specific infection, like the cordyceps. So you have like the different stages of clickers or blind. They can't see but they can hear, and then you have the big boys. What are they called? Bloaters. Yeah, and then you just have normal runners, which are basically normal zombies. But I think that lends itself to an interesting world of like how they work. Also, apparently zombies migrate. They put that in Last of Us Part 2 and just say it, and they never explain why zombies migrate, but they migrate apparently.
I would imagine that it's
That's
probably because
strange.
of since it's a fungus, it would try to find a location where the fungus can grow,
And it
better.
not be cold, I guess.
It depends. There's fungus that can grow in the cold. It can probably doesn't
Cordyceps
prefer to.
itself, I think canonically, like they don't survive in the cold.
Well, then, can you not go to like Alaska and live there? That's what the story they should
Theoretically,
tell. Then
People
Alaska,
trying to
the
get to
last the
Alaska,
last compound, the last sanctuary for humanity is northern Canada,
and the
the Russian
cordyceps like
Alps.
adapts and starts going north.
I think it'd be cool if like the cordyceps started taking over like other animals too.
I think it'd be cold even. Sorry, that
I
I
don't.
apologize.
I didn't like that one. But I feel like
I give that a
potentially
two.
if they did that, that would just fall into the same trap of trying to one up themselves. Where now it's like, okay, we can't have any more human infected.
We've done that too much.
So now we're gonna have infected wolves. We're gonna have some infected like gorillas from zoos and stuff.
Be infected deer.
Infected deer that are just gonna be freaking like Wendigos. Like the design is just gonna be a
Oh
Wendigo.
man, that's an interesting idea. But yeah, I
Infected
wouldn't want
ants.
it in Last of Us. I just think that would be an interesting idea in general.
What Wendigos?
Well, I mean, Wendigos are cool, but I mean, yeah, a deer, like a creature turning into something that we would sort of call that.
I suppose.
Kind of like the people who find dogs that have so much mange that they, pretty much like these are the chupacabras. You know?
Oh yeah, or call them werewolves or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, that you can. I love the idea of mythological creatures being found, but they're real creatures you already know about. They're just so deformed. They're just so messed up because of disease or some other problem.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool, but I don't really know. I feel like there's a lot of smaller ideas like a Walking Dead or like a Last of Us, or I guess another game is like Infamous that comes to mind that have like cool premises and you can just expand them to see what the world looks like. Though Infamous kind of, well, I guess it didn't shoot itself in the foot because now in Second Son, now everyone can just like unlock their powers at any point.
Yeah,
Versus in
yeah.
Infamous 1 and 2, it was you had to use the freaking whatever that technology thing was to unlock your powers if you had a conduit gene. And now in Infamous 3, because of what you did in Infamous 2, everyone can just use their powers. But that is just another superpower world, which at a point people are going to get tired of. I feel like we are reaching a level where you have to do really original stuff for people to kind of get on board with superpowers after all the MCU stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right now, it seems like you're either going to have your superheroes. There's going to be some sort of civil war situation where it's like, oh, we should be reined in, because we're too powerful. We're causing destruction whenever we're trying to save the world. So you have that sort of dichotomy always happening, or go the opposite route with bad guy Superman.
But we have enough of those, I believe.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like I feel like that's going
Well,
to keep
we've had
on.
like
Oh
three
yeah,
of them in the past couple years. We had Brightburn, we had Invincible, and we had The Boys.
yeah.
Which, granted, Invincible and The Boys are based off of pre existing materials, but it's still
The
evil
pre-existing
Superman.
material, yeah, was Evil Superman. One game that I really want to see an expanded world on is Control, and
I hear they're making more in that universe.
Yeah,
it's
they
gonna be
are.
amazing.
They announced
I need
it.
to finish the DLC.
I the thing is, whenever you were talking about how do you describe it? It's the closest we're going to get to a AAA ACP game.
Yeah, yeah.
ACP?
SCP.
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 Sorry. Yeah, I was like, I don't. That's not right. Yeah, yeah. You're big into the SCP stuff. I'm really not. But I get what you're saying. And whenever I was reading the article talking about how they were going to make more games in the universe, that's how they described it. They didn't say more of the same style. They didn't say more with the same character. They didn't say more in the same building. So to me, that means that there is more out in the world outside of that building.
That'd be amazing because in like the lore of SCP, there are other organizations that they have like the Global Occult Coalition, which is like most times they're working with, or not even most times, a lot of times they're working with the SCP Foundation, but sometimes their main thing is to destroy these artifacts instead of containing them. So I feel like you could do something interesting with that. There's just, of course they're not the SCP world, but just as a comparison, that'd be awesome to see how other organizations react to the existence of these anomalous, I forget what they were called, OOPs, the objects of power. It'd be cool to see.
Place of power. Gotta be.
Got to draw from it. It'd be cool to see how other foundations have worked with it.
I feel more so whenever I was reading the article, I was thinking like I brought up to you guys before how I think that games should really experiment with changing up the mechanics of their own game, like changing what their game genre even is.
Yeah,
Because like, could you imagine you're playing? My mind went blank. Say you're playing a game like Dark Souls, but you're not playing as one of the people with the dark sign. You're playing as someone else. You know, someone who's just existing in this world. And now it's a survival horror game.
yeah.
You
Trying to
know,
keep from
kind of like what they
hollowing.
did with Alien, where it's like, okay, most Alien games are just first-person shooters, wave, rush games.
Yeah,
But then they did Alien Isolation, survival horror.
Or like, what if they did like a Bloodborne where you're not a hunter?
That's what I was thinking about first, but I actually had something I want to talk about with Bloodborne, so I didn't want to bring that up too soon. But that's how I feel about the SCP game. Is like, could you imagine if you're not some super being person that's going around trying to figure this stuff out? You're just a person that exists in a world full of SCPs.
So you've given me the perfect transition into, it's kind of on topic, a little bit not, but it's a hypothetical I would like to pose to you guys. So we're gonna use Skyrim as a as a framework just because it's it's easy to compare itself to, and it's been what's on my mind for like the past couple weeks. Do you think a game that is an open world game with like a rich kind of lore filled world similar to Skyrim? Do you think if you made a Skyrim that did not have the main dragon quest and ultimately was just, you are a character in the world, you can go around, join guilds, and you can go around and help people, but there's no end goal? Like, this is just a world building game. You're in a world, you do not have any major impact on it. Sure, maybe you like join the Legion and you help them win, or you join the Stormcloaks and you help them win. But you're not the main guy. You're just a guy or a girl. Do you think that would be successful?
well, the first thing I think of are the mods that get rid of the opening and you get to choose where you're starting out as like a
Exactly.
blacksmith or something. But also MMOs, a lot of the time, you're day to day in an MMO, unless you're doing like dungeons and stuff like that. But a lot of people they just do casual things, like people who role play. Like I went in New World, I want to role play a hunter who just goes out hunting, gets skins, has like his own little house in the forest, things like that.
Yeah, I always, or I especially in my current like Skyrim thing, because I'm doing other stuff with my playthrough. I'm kind of role playing with my character, and I think seeing the success of those mods, that people clearly seem to like that sort of concept, where it's just you're doing things in the world, but you are not the main character of the world. How successful would that be as like a normal $60 triple a game and not a mod? Would people like that sort of thing, or do you think that's just a small amount of players that enjoy that sort of thing versus the majority of everyday casuals are just like, no, just give me a game where I can just be the god.
I think people would definitely like that game. I mean, look at games like what's Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley.
Well, what I was
Granted, it's a
thinking
little
of
different.
was actually I had to look it up because I couldn't remember the name of it. Called Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the problem with that game is obviously it's difficult because of the mechanics make it difficult. But the premise is what pretty much you're talking about, where it's like, oh, you're just a blacksmith's son, and that's literally it. You go through and you can, do cool stuff, I guess, but it is just like small quests, like get that guy's sword, get the key to this, chest that's inside a, uh, a missionary building or whatever. I
Granted,
don't know.
that one does have like a main quest that ends in like armies and wars,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that is true. But I mean, I can't remember what it's called, but there's this new MMO coming out that we were talking about a while back. That is just pretty much farm and stuff. What was that called?
oh
Oh, the one that's like 3D Stardew Valley and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't
got like
remember what
an
it's called.
we saw like a trailer for one of the events.
yeah. And I was looking at it and I was like, it doesn't look like there's any fighting. And then whenever I like read about it, it was like, yeah, they're not trying to focus on adventuring and like killing things and dungeon crawling.
It's just a building
It's just
MMO.
yeah. And I was like, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day because I think it'd be really fascinating to just have a world that is solely world building and you feel like you live there. Like you are not a dragonborn trying to stop this time jumping dragon from destroying the world. You're not some dude who woke up after being asleep for several years and their son like was kidnapped. You're not a person looking for their dad in the wasteland. Like you're not what all these like things are in these Bethesda games. You are just a person who lives in the world. You've always lived there and stuff just happens. The world does not revolve around you. You can make friends and you can have quest lines and storylines, sure, but you are not the god of this world that after every single main like quest line for a side like a side group, you become the leader of that group all of a sudden.
I think that one of the good strategies that is used to make a game like that, but also keep people's attention, is to change the setting that you're in to be more exciting. I mean, look at things like Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, and whatever that third similar game is, where you can just be a cargo runner. You're just running cargo.
Oh
That's just your
man,
job.
Elite
You're just a space
Dangerous.
trucker.
That is such a good game. That's not what we're here to talk about. But I like Elite Dangerous. Could you imagine something like that? Yeah, that would be interesting. A world like that. Something like Elite Dangerous, but it's medieval. Like I feel like that'd be really hard because Elite Dangerous, although it's a large galaxy, it is just stars and bases.
Yeah, yeah,
So the programming aspect, I don't think would be as difficult as making entire villages, an entire country practically, and then having NPCs doing things in that country. They all have their own quests they're going about, and you can meet them later on if you run into each other. You're just the Khajiit merchant, you know,
yeah.
walking from one side of the country to the other.
But also they're making a there's I think I heard tell of like a game that's basically just underwater Stardew Valley. It's like did any of y'all watch Luca yet?
Subnautic?
Either of y'all watch Luca yet?
Yeah, I watched Luca. It's really good.
So it's basically like that, except as is like Stardew Valley game. Like you saw when they were like herding the fish sheep or whatever
Oh
they were.
yeah, they're hurting the fish for reasons that
Luca
they don't
would
tell you.
be a
You're doing
very
that.
different movie if there were leviathans in it.
It would be.
Luca would be a very different movie if there were any such ancient mythical beast in it.
I mean, they're kind of mythical beasts.
Yes, but when I say any such, I'm talking
Oh,
about the
you're talking
size
about
and
like a
power
freaking
of the
kraken or
Leviathan.
something like that.
A kraken, a sea dragon, Jormungandr.
Oh
Those in
man, that
Luca would
would
have
be a very
significantly
different
changed the
movie.
plot.
Could you imagine that? Like they advertise the movie as like this family friendly kids movie, and then halfway through, Jormungandr comes out and the world starts to fall apart.
Just battling Thor in the
Yeah,
background.
like what
That
happened?
like that's actually a really interesting transition point because you have like God of War which expanded its world by saying, "Hey, by the way, all of the other pantheons like that have existed throughout history, yeah, they have their own realms, by the way. So we're just gonna go Norse now. It's fascinating that they were just able to be like, we're gonna keep the main character and the main story is going to have been the same, but effectively we're just gonna, in order to continue this story and continue building this world, we're gonna do a different world effectively.
I think that's a good way to do it because of the ways I like to do it is that you get rid of your main character, you get rid of all that stuff. Like I'm not a big fan of Star Wars because it's always the same people.
It's always a Skywalker or
So
whatever.
it's always Skywalker. There's always Solo. There's always the same people.
There's not always a Solo.
I mean,
Ben,
yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say now that
but Ben's importance is more for being a Skywalker than a Solo,
but he's still a Solo.
I guess. But he's not in the prequels
either way, there's
versus
always
Skywalker is.
it's this one thread we're following everywhere. I prefer the idea that you go totally in the opposite direction. Not even just a new character who's a Jedi, but just a pirate,
A Mandalorian.
a Mandalorian. So you can say, yeah, that's the thing is I prefer that. I do think God of War did an amazing job with hey, we're gonna keep the same character and move into a new area. Cool, but I think the opposite side of that. Sorry, I think the opposite side of that is that you get rid of your main characters, put totally new characters in a totally different timeline, or just different area. Especially when it comes to like Star Wars and an entire galaxy, they can be anywhere.
But yeah, because Mandalorian is, for the exception of when they visit Tatooine, it's all the Outer Rim.
Yeah,
Which I think even Tatooine is like on the edge of the Outer Rim or something, maybe?
it's out there in the country. One game that didn't really get a lot of appreciation when it first came out, but I kind of want to see them just try another take at it is Evolve, because I still love the idea of like we're hunting these Titanic boss battle beasts. And I just want to see more of that because there's so much creativity that can be put into that, and it's kind of sucks that it didn't like.
It'd be an interesting concept for a horror movie. Like, the monster is constantly changing as he eats, so they're trying to kill him as fast as possible.
Isn't that just the thing?
I guess.
He's constantly changing from a dog to a person to a whatever
Well,
you
yeah,
would call
but
that
but but
thing.
in
Yeah, but
this
this is very
case,
a lot
they're
less
evolving, changing
a lot less
versus,
inconspicuous.
yeah, less, you know, less, the thing, more like Pokemon, I guess.
The horror movie Pokemon.
Horror movie Pokemon, the Tyrannosaurus Rex is evolving.
I mean, there are some Pokemon that are
Huge.
really creepy.
And they're
Yeah,
really
have you
yeah.
seen Wobbuffet?
Also, like, some of them have like really dark stories. Like, there's like a hot air balloon Pokemon that their entire like Pokedex entry is that they take little kids and take them into the sky
There's a
and they never come
Pokemon
back.
that like
I'm serious. I'm serious. I know you're giving me that look right now, Quentin. There's some dark stuff in Pokemon, bro.
there's
I
a
was about to
Pokemon
make
that
a
like
joke
wears
about
the skull.
Magikarp and you dropped that on me?
Yeah,
There's a Pokemon that like wears the skull of its mother or some shit.
yeah, yeah. Cubone, wears the skull of its mother on its head.
I know that I like that Pokemon. What?
Yeah, bro. There's some messed up Pokemon,
That's terrible.
which is why they should make a Pokemon show. There's like so much cool stuff that you can do with Pokemon because it's just like such an open world.
I don't think they'll make
And
it dark.
they could though.
They definitely could.
It'd be really cool if they made like a dark, like, like kind of like horror movie esque or just like a mystery movie esque.
Well, they made the mystery movie one.
Well, like a scary mystery movie, not.
Honestly, Pokemon would be terrifying. If Pokemon existed in our real world,
Oh yeah,
obviously not the small
a
ones.
freaking dog that can breathe fire. Yeah,
Mewtwo, Mew.
Yeah, Mew and Mewtwo. Like honestly, even though Mew, is smaller and all that stuff, still terrifying powers.
Mewtwo is in the Detective Pikachu movie.
Yeah. Mewtwo though is also intelligent in our capacity.
Oh yeah, and then there's also the scene. Have neither of you have seen Detective Pikachu, right?
Nope.
Nope.
There's so you guys know the Pokemon Ditto, right?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
So in the entire movie, it turns out the corporation's evil. They made Mewtwo. Mewtwo's trying to like stay alive. He's trying to be a good dude.
Spoiler alert.
And it came out like 2 years ago. It's fine. So So the entire time you think that this corporation is the good guy because they're like friends with the main character's dad or whatever. And so there's a bodyguard for the head of the company. And at the end of the movie, the main character like bumps into the bodyguard. The bodyguard takes off his eyes, and it's the fucking Ditto eyes. The Ditto was pretending to be a human the whole time. And I'm like, that's horror movie shit right there. They
What
need to
is
do
this
more of this.
Clayface shit going on?
Bro, first of all, it looked terrifying because it's Ditto eyes on a human, like otherwise human body. It's creepy. But stuff like that, they could totally do that with like a Pokemon show. Now they won't do it with the Netflix one, but they could. They could. Another thing that I want them to like kind of bring back is I want them to do Kick Ass again. Cuz I know they were like considering doing Kick Ass 3, but I don't think they'll make it, which is unfortunate cuz I know like
Is that enough of a world to really like?
yes.
Because like, although yeah, okay, corporations and all that
Yeah.
stuff that they're fighting and all that, but it's pretty much our world just with people who actually decided they want to be superheroes.
There's a lot of stories that the Kick Ass comics did that you could adapt. I'd love to see those.
Okay.
But I just think the concept and the characters specifically are really interesting,
I,
especially
I,
since like Hit Girl left.
yeah, I can see the characters, but then again, that goes back to the argument of
You could do like a Hit Girl spin-off show, I guess.
maybe it's a situation where if it's the characters that are the reason you're there, you have to keep the characters. But if it's the world that you're there for, keep the world.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that is what you said earlier. Like God of War was character we like. We're keeping the character and kind of changing the world. The old story is still the same and it's connected, but we're keeping Kratos and now we're doing Norse mythology. And then the opposite thing would be okay, Mandalorian. We have a Mandalorian. You know what Mandalorians are, or have at least seen what Boba Fett looks like, and you know what Yoda looks like. So here's Mandalorian and Grogu. There you go. There's your show. Bye. And I think both of those are pretty safe estimates. I mean, both of them turned out to be incredible. God of War is one of the best games I've ever played, and Mandalorian I think revitalized a whole lot of people's love of Star Wars and made a whole lot of people who don't like Star Wars, like you, Quentin, and I have a cousin who doesn't like Star Wars either. He loves Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I know
I
you like
haven't
Mandalorian.
I haven't liked Star Wars since I beat Knights of the Old Republic.
That's the only
That's
Star
the
Wars thing
only
that you
good
like.
story. I mean, that's not true. I like the story of like the Force Unleashed. That's
Yeah, I was gonna say
okay.
I thought you liked Force Unleashed.
That's okay of a story, yeah. But Knights of the Republic was like top tier. And then like
This
they
just out. Quentin hates Clone Wars. Everyone go after him.
I mean, I don't.
I don't think it's the
I have issues with
best.
Clone Wars. I don't think it's terrible, but
Dear
It
God,
runs into the same problem.
they're
It's
everywhere.
Anakin and it's
Help me.
Obi-Wan doing Anakin and Obi-Wan things.
honestly,
Have you watched the show?
I think the
Yes.
best parts of that show are when Anakin and Obi-Wan are not on screen and it's just Ahsoka.
I like whenever it's Ahsoka.
That's the show.
I like whenever it's Padme doing, senator things.
Or I suppose I also find it interesting where they explore the other Jedi that we don't really see in the movies, like exploring Mace Windu,
Plo
exploring
Koon, yeah,
exploring them.
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the stuff with Anakin and Obi-Wan because I feel like there's no stakes there because I know that these characters are alive. I know that. I bring this up to you guys all the time. There was a mini series or like a mini plot thread that they advertised on Cartoon Network where it's like, oh no, Obi-Wan Kenobi is dead. And that's how they advertised it.
They're disgusting. Help me.
All of the ads were or no, or were like, oh no, Obi-Wan's dead. What are we gonna do? And I'm sitting here like, who do you think I am? You think I haven't seen the other at the time 4 movies that happen after this? I know he's alive. I'm not an idiot.
Again, watch the show.
It is a good show. I just
There are
have my
some really
issues with
good
it.
parts in it. There are
The
some
thing
really good
is,
parts.
right? The stakes when you have an Anakin and Obi-Wan episode are not about Anakin and Obi-Wan dying. It's about the people that they're trying to help, like how they're gonna deal with. Because a lot of it is like It's dealing with wartime mentalities.
Well,
You
that's how I
have
feel
people
with
who
the
try to keep
Padme with things.
neutrality, and everyone and Anakin are there like, I mean, we're on a side. We're gonna try to protect you, but without picking a side, you're just gonna get run over. Things like that. It's like, and then most of the show, actually, I haven't done the math, but a lot of the show is outside of them, and it's just other people. Plo Koon is my favorite Jedi, other than like the obvious Obi-Wan. Plo Koon
Oh,
is my favorite.
is Kit Fisto the like
Kid
one?
Fisto is the
Green
one,
Yeah,
guy.
I
yeah.
like him. I like him.
And then of course my favorite parts of the entire show are the Darth Maul parts, and Mandalore, Siege of
I
Mandalore.
I liked whenever they first showed off the character of Cad Bane. I was like, this is amazing. How old was I when that second season came out?
You were probably
What,
in
12?
fifth or sixth grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, 12, 13? And I saw the character design for Cad Bane, heard him speak, and was like, that's the best character ever made.
I say you as if we weren't all in the same grade. I was doing it because that's when I was. I
Yeah.
was doing the math for me.
So
Inbo is my favorite bounty hunter. So I felt the same way about Inbo.
when I saw Cad Bane, I was like, this is the best guy ever. And then like after like 2 episodes that he was in, they just didn't have him again. Now, maybe it makes sense narratively. It's been a while since I've seen that season. But maybe it made sense narratively to just not have him anymore because he's a bounty hunter. He only shows up when people are paying, right? So maybe just no one paid him. It made sense narratively. But for the 13-year-old kid who was like, I like this character, they didn't have that character. I was like, this is an awful show.
I will eventually watch all of Clone Wars because
Despicable.
as we talked about last week, one of the issues with serialized shows on TV is that you will miss out on so many episodes. So I couldn't catch up. So I just occasionally would watch an episode, or whenever I watched like Johnny Tester, one of those random Cartoon Network shows, I'd get like an ad for it and be like, "Oh, this is
When
happening."
you were watching the superior Johnny Test.
I
Real
don't think it's
quick,
a better show. It was just a show that was on that I semi enjoyed. That was on Cartoon Network.
you hear they're rebooting Johnny Test.
Yeah, on
It
like
looks bad.
Netflix. Oh man.
It looks bad. The cast is
That is
bad
one
though.
that does not need to be expanded
I
upon.
haven't seen it, but I wish with those this is kind of a digression. I wish with these remakes of like old shows that they just copied the show and just made it a different thing. Like I would have been perfectly fine if they made like, this is um James exam. Like a whole they
I'm
just
sorry,
repaint
what?
it. I would have loved if you just repainted it. Copy the same thing, repaint it. Why reboot it with the exact same name? At least act
Henry
like you're
Experiment.
Quentin Pop Quiz.
I'd watch Quentin Pop Quiz.
No, you
Of course
wouldn't.
you would.
That was two completely different reactions. Matthew
You're
thinks
saying
you
that he
would.
wouldn't because of what the show would be. I'm
Yeah,
saying that of course he would because of the name of the show.
that's more of a you thing that you would watch something because the character's named Matthew.
Quentin is a unpopular enough name that I believe that Quentin would hop on it just for having the
Maybe.
name Quentin.
Maybe.
There are a lot of things named Matthew. It is an egotistical thing to want to watch everything that has
Talking
Matthew in it.
about
That is my thing.
talking about things that like are getting rebooted and they're bad. Matt, did you ever watch Agents of Shield?
Nope.
Is that bad?
No. I'm
You
not
sounded
asking
so
that because I'm
hurt.
gonna.
You sounded so crestfallen.
I'm not gonna. I'm not bringing up Agents of Shield because that's what the topic is. There's
I was
just
gonna
an
say I liked the
actress.
first season. I didn't watch beyond
It was
that.
just there's an actress that was in Agents of Shield that it makes the story easier if you knew who she was. Um, so like the CW tends to do now, the CW decided we're gonna make a Powerpuff Girls reboot that is them older and it's a darker show. So like, older gritty reboot of Powerpuff Girls. And they did a pilot and one of the actresses who played Quake in Agents of Shield, She was one of the main cast. I would assume she's Blossom because she seems like a main character slash Blossom type, but I don't know which one she was. But she played one of them, and she said due to quote unquote scheduling conflicts, she will not be filming the rest of the show after that terrible pilot, which aka means I don't want to do this show. Apparently, it was really bad. The pilot is really bad, which makes sense because the only time they got it to work was the first 1.5 seasons of Riverdale, and then after that, it stopped working. I think the first season of Riverdale is good, and then like the first half of season 2 is bad, or is good, then it gets bad.
I've not watched that one.
It's decent. It's a cool premise. I like the idea of taking something putting it in a different world, kind of putting a spin on it. I thought that was really cool. We know these Archie characters from silly comics that are just slice of life stuff. What if you put these characters in modern day and did different stuff with them? And then it just got all tropey and the writing's bad and I guess that's like a different. I guess I kind of stumbled into a different kind of subject of taking something pre-existing and changing it into something different, and kind of having that be your sort of world building. Like,
Yeah, expanding on the world by
like
making
a
a
lot of people do, like
different
alternate
attempt at it.
universe stuff. Manga does that a lot. There's a high school version of Attack on Titan where all of the characters are in school. It's written by the same dude. So it's just like a spin-off manga of like, hey, you like these characters? What if they're in school together?
Well, I'm thinking of like Elementary with like Sherlock Holmes modern day, or even Sherlock Holmes modern day. You know,
Yeah, I mean Sherlock Holmes is one of those ones that just everyone they're trying every single permutation of Sherlock
You
and
have
the world around him.
the different versions of Scooby Doo where they have them as adults, they have them in high school, they have them in
you
college.
got the TMNT in the future.
The ever shifting existence of Scrappy Doo.
He just exists in all
Was it you who
timelines.
hated Scrappy Doo?
I think it was Harris, a friend of ours named Harris.
Yes, that was he vehemently just
And then he
hated
got
that
mad at
man.
me because I was making fun of him, and I'm like, "Why do you hate Scrappy Doo so much?" So I started defending Scrappy Doo, and he thought I was like upset or something. He's like, "Why do you like Scrappy Doo so much?" I'm like, "I don't. I'm
Then
Why
why
just."
are
are
you
you defending
defending
him?
him?
Thank you, Matthew.
That was a
Of
good
course.
bit. Uh
He is indefensible.
oh yeah, because I was bringing up the shows that Scrappy was actually a decent character in, because there was like a spin-off Scooby Doo and Scrappy Doo show, and that's the only time they made him a quote unquote not antagonist. He was one of the three protagonists because it was just him, Shaggy, and Scooby. They should bring Scooby Doo back and do more stuff with it.
I didn't watch Scooby Doo enough. I say enough. I didn't like it.
You have Netflix?
I mean, you do.
I need to get you guys to watch Mystery Incorporated. I brought it up last week. Mystery Incorporated is so good.
I remember. Okay, so the big Scooby Doo things I remember. First of all, we have Scooby Doo Monopoly at my parents' place. That was a good game. Has nothing to do with the actual Scooby Doo, but still, I just wanted to bring it up.
Monopoly was a good game.
Monopoly was a good game. Not so much anymore when you're playing with friends, because then you hate everybody. But the other thing I know about Scooby Doo was the live action movie, which everyone loved, right?
I'd still love those movies, but for the wrong reasons.
And then there was another movie that was a cartoon where they were in cyberspace.
Cyber
We're
Chase.
Cyber
moving.
Chase,
We're
that's what it
beating
was.
Hacker at his game.
That's
It's not that, Matt, but close.
What?
wrong show.
How is it Cyber
Speaking
Chase
of
and
which,
not?
speaking of which, they should reboot that because that was a cool world and premise. Also, that was a kid show that was serialized somehow in like
Again,
the early
don't
2000s. I don't know how they made that show.
don't reboot it. Just copy it and paint over it. Just call it like Technoplane. Um,
You know
I
what
mean, if
show?
PBS does it, it'll be fine.
Okay, you know what show
We'll
that I
see.
remember as a kid that I was like, that was a cool idea, and honestly, it probably would have been, it probably was trash because I was a kid, but I was like, I love this.
Clifford the Big Red
No, it was
Dog.
not Clifford the Big Red
Did you
Dog.
see the trailer for that movie?
Don't bring up that trash. Don't.
Did you see the trailer for
I
that
saw
movie?
the trailer. I saw the CGI dog. Don't worry.
It's so bad.
No. I watched this show as a kid. This is way off topic, but I watched a show called Chaotic.
Oh yeah, it was like Cartoon Network's attempt to make a
A
Yu-Gi-Oh.
card game.
Yeah,
I loved
and it
Chaotic.
lasted like 2 seasons because it didn't take off.
I I don't know if that show was actually good or if it was just I was a kid.
It was decent from what I can remember.
I remember loving that show. Not really the card thing. I didn't really care much for that, but that show was cool. It kind of reminded me. It shares the same room in my head as Shaolin Showdown.
That that tracks. I didn't really like Shaolin Showdown though.
Well, then you can go die.
Okay.
Sorry. I had an adverse reaction to that.
There are a lot of those old cartoon shows that you could probably do a lot with now.
Yeah.
Cause like they're so like specific that you could expand on them. I mean, I think we were talking about this a while ago about like what if you did like Codename Kids Next Door where it's like another one that's like across the street is like a different group or something like that.
Yeah.
What
That'd be
was the
cool.
one that you came up with?
I don't even remember.
I got it written down. Give me a minute.
But yeah, like there's a lot of stuff. Like you could I mean, Mystery Incorporated turned Scooby Doo into something different. They did like the like horror comic series where like Mystery Incorporated is going against like actual monsters, but it's not like Mystery Inc. It's like it was like a different kind of comic
Yeah.
series.
I want to
Um
see more Danny Phantom, honestly.
more Danny Phantom, please.
That'd be cool as hell.
Sorry. More Danny Phantom, please. That show's so good. More like My Life as a Teenage Robot you could do a lot of stuff with.
True.
Honestly, I wanted a Danny Phantom My Life as a Teenage Robot crossover.
That
That'd be
sounds
the
like it'd be
most
pretty cool.
powerful duo in the galaxy.
But
You kidding me?
isn't My Life as a Teenage Robot set in the future? Or is that modern day?
I
Well,
think
quote
it's
unquote
modern
modern
day.
day.
It's just the
2003.
it's just like the scientist lady's a genius.
The modern year of 2003.
I'm pretty sure it's modern day. It's just
In the
she's a genius.
post-apocalyptic future of 1992. So I got it. I looked it up. So we had nickname adults across the street
Nickname adults across
for
the
codename Kids Next Door or alias tweens down the yard.
That was what it was. It was tweens down the
Tweens down the
yard.
yard.
That's so good.
Oh man, that's so stupid.
'Cause I came up with adults across the I came up with nickname adults across the street. And Matthew came up with fucking tweens down the yard. But yeah, there's like a lot of stuff you could like revitalize it or do different stuff with it, expand it. I think a lot of those like old school Nickelodeon shows you could just say, yeah, they're in the same universe and just go with that.
I mean, yeah, Jimmy Timmy. Well, Jimmy Timmy Power Hour wasn't really the same universe, but it
Yeah,
was
they
like the
were like
same.
in parallel universes.
Yeah.
Even without that, a lot of those were made by the same person.
Right.
So Danny Phantom and
Was it Butch Hartman? I think.
Butch Hartman made
Yeah.
Danny Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so those two could exist in the same world, and you could be like, yeah, that makes sense.
I actually met one of the creators of Jimmy Neutron at college.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because he worked there.
Oh yeah. I think you told me about this.
He's a cool dude.
Awesome. In the back to the vein of like video games that I would love to see expanded upon a bit more. The Jack series, I would love to see more of. Like
Never.
Jack's story is pretty much over. Jack and Daxter's stories are pretty
They're
much
never
over.
gonna make more. It's only Ratchet and Clank now. Sly Cooper
Never gonna make more
existed.
Jack. Never.
Okay,
Jack
never
and
more Sly
Daxter
Cooper.
never
Jack and
existed.
Daxter's world is very interesting because honestly, whenever you're in the past, I guess in the very first game, it's all lush and green and cool. There's like a bunch of islands. There's a weird area, and there's precursors and all that stuff. And then you don't find out who the precursors are until the third game, which is in the future. So it's like, how?
Yeah.
What? What happened? How did they develop time travel? What is that all about? What are the power cells? What is all this stuff? It's so cool. I think that's very interesting that you could expand upon that and be like, here's what everything means if you wanted to
Don't
do
you
that.
hate
Yeah.
Jack 2 and Jack 3 though?
I mean, they're not as good as Jack and Daxter.
They're different games from Jack.
They're
and
not
Daxter.
as good as Jack and Daxter.
Jack 2 and Jack 3 are golden.
They're not as
games.
good as Jack and Daxter. So yeah,
They're not the same as Jack and Daxter.
We just just gonna loop this conversation over and over again?
They're not as good as Jack and
It's
Daxter.
not the same as Jack and
Oh
Daxter.
my god.
Well,
Just get a soundboard and keep playing those over and over
right,
again.
right. That's gonna be the intro. Not as good as Jack and Daxter.
Not the same as Jack and Daxter.
So I mean, I brought it up earlier and I didn't really expand upon it, so I feel like I'm going to now. Bloodborne. I think that Bloodborne would be really interesting to expand that world because my biggest question in that world is how odd is Yharnam? Is that something the world is just like acquainted with? Like I realize it's supposed to be odd, like insanity and all that stuff. You're seeing things like the amygdalas and all that. Cool. But like is the rest of the world supposed to be like our world, like very mundane, very normal? Or is some of that stuff like, oh yeah, there's some weird stuff out in the world?
I would love to see that Yarnum is the actual place that's the best off currently.
Everywhere else is like,
Is worse
yeah,
somehow?
apocalyptic events everywhere else. At least Yarnum's, got people who are alive.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like your character's supposed to show up because he's got some disease, some blood virus or something. That's why he's going to Yarnum to get healing. So it's like, is that disease he has supposed to be the disease that like destroyed old Yarnum? And
Mm.
if so, does that mean that it is spreading? And so if the rest of the world is normal, it ain't gonna be for long.
Yeah.
That's my question.
I mean, I what like does Dark Souls even have an equivalent in that sense? Like,
Well, in Dark
what is the
Souls,
world of Dark
In Dark
Souls?
Souls, you go to different places within the world itself. I
yeah,
mean,
in Dark Souls, it's not set in one city, or at least not the third one.
yeah.
The first one's kind of like, yeah, this one little area. But the world lore is supposed to be that there's, every 1,000 years this dark sign comes into existence and people just don't die. They instead keep coming back to life every time they die, and whenever you give up, you go hollow. Okay, cool. So the whole world is infected by that. So the whole world is as weird as this area you're fighting in. But in Bloodborne, the
I
story.
didn't know that they actually had a canon reason for why you revive.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
They try to
Pretty
make
much
it.
any what's the word, like a common thing through pretty much any Souls-born game is going to be there's a canon
A
reason why you're
diegetic
reviving
reason to keep all that stuff in universe. Yeah, it's
to
not a menu.
prevent ludonarrative
Oh
dissidence.
my god.
You
Did
why?
you just find out about that word?
No, but now that I know that people don't like to hear it, it's at the forefront of my mind.
Okay. That's fair.
Gained more power.
So yeah, in Dark Souls there's a reason. In Bloodborne, there's a reason for you to come back, with the hunter's dream and all that stuff. But like, is that worldwide? Can that stuff
Mr.
exist?
You
Worldwide.
have
Oh
to
my
get the
god.
blood transfusion, don't you? To get
Yeah,
the old
yeah, yeah.
blood.
You have to get the blood transfusion to
Yeah,
get some
because
of the
that's what.
the old one blood and all that.
Yeah, because that's what makes you start.
Hallucinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what makes you go on a trip. Start seeing blood
In our
moons
favorite
and
rocket ship.
rock
Aim into the
spiders and
sky,
stuff.
the Einstein. But also, because of the ending of Dark Souls 3, there is some like speculation that Bloodborne and Dark Souls are in the same world.
I've seen
Because
that. Yeah.
in the end of Dark Souls 3, you create the painted world basically for uh, that this little girl creates, and it's a real world. Like you hop into it, you can live. The first painted world is just like a bunch of outsiders basically. Um, but by the end of it, she's making a world uh, based on blood. I forget the actual phrasing, but it's she uses blood to make this world. So people are like, a world based on blood sounds like something I'm familiar with.
Would
Men
they
are
even
undone, blighted,
connect
blah
those
blah blah.
universes though? Do you think?
Is there what?
Like, do you think they would like connect those
Never
universes?
explicitly.
Yeah, they definitely wouldn't say, so these worlds are connected, guys. Like, Hidetaka Miyazaki's not going to come out one day and be like, okay, so this is the story.
They only ever drop hints and let you speculate. That's all they
However,
do.
there have been speculations before Dark Souls 3 that that Bloodborne was in the Dark Souls universe. They thought that it was demon souls created the world for Dark Souls, which created the world for Bloodborne.
Which Dark Souls 3 gives them even more evidence to work
Yeah,
on.
because at the end of Demon Souls, the world's like covered in mist, and in the opening of Dark Souls 1, they show that the world was mist in the beginning and all that. So people were like, "Oh, that means that they're the same." And I'm like, "Yeah, it could be. I mean, if you want to be, I guess."
But I don't see any connection, or I haven't heard about any connection between Bloodborne and like Sekiro or anything like that.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's all
Sekiro, because
Soulsborne
it like
games.
has a narrative, feels very kind of distant.
I mean, that would be interesting though, because in Sekiro, there's a blood disease sort of thing.
Oh, great! Here we go.
So if you want to speculate,
The minute you say blood,
are you bleeding?
is this Bloodborne?
Is this Bloodborne?
Always blood.
Men
Fear the
are
old blood.
undone by the old blood. Or made men by the old blood. Undone
And
by
then
the
if you
old.
like mention souls, then it's over. But then are they the Dark Souls or are they the Demon Souls? Which one are they?
I
What?
just
Still
wanted
here.
the soul.
Hand it
Are
over.
those games connected?
Which
That
one?
thing.
Demon Souls and Dark
I
Souls?
just said
Yeah,
that
yeah.
possibly, yeah.
Like,
Possibly.
Possibly.
They don't. None of the what's considered canon, but like 10% of what's considered canon in Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne's a little bit more explicit, but like Dark Souls and Demon Souls, 10% of what's considered canon is actually like proven in the game. Most everything else is speculation, and like you get bits and pieces of evidence, and
It's
you
very
make your
speculative.
story.
It's like, oh, this knight's armor is inside this room, so that must mean they knew each other, which means they're probably family, right? Like, like that's how much speculation's going into
Yeah,
Dark
yeah.
Souls.
And granted, a lot of that speculation seems just sort of like 2 + 2 = 4, but again, that's
-3,
not
that's
explicit.
frequent math. Never mind.
You say quick mouse.
Yeah, quick math.
Nice.
Smoke trees. No ketchup.
So what else do we have? What other what other worlds need to be expanded
I
upon?
mean, there's so many, but I guess we can kind of hit one last topic here. If you were given free reign to take a pre-existing world, don't let me finish the question. If you were given free reign, and I'm gonna take away Treasure Planet from you because I want to hear a different answer.
Why would you do that to that poor man?
If you were given a world to do free reign with and kind of build something either new for that world, like a Mystery Incorporated where you take the characters and do something different with them, or you put something in that world like the Khajiit caravan idea, what world would it be? And if you have a tentative idea, what would it be? Matthew, do you want to go first?
I have only the most general idea. Another Sly Cooper game.
No.
That's off limits.
I'm gonna try again. Another Sly Cooper game.
No. Do a different one. All three of us would do a new Sly Cooper game.
Matt, 3 times the charm, Matt.
Let me think.
I will throw my Sly Cooper pot figure at you. It's right here.
That's a
Another
gift. What are you talking about?
He already has one.
Yeah, and
another Ghost of Tsushima game.
I mean, the new one just came out.
The new edition.
Yeah.
But no. In terms of like, I don't know. I'd probably have like. There's already another Adventure Time show coming out, so that's already a thing. Um,
You would try to do a new Adventure Time show?
yeah. Because I need more of it. Actually, you know what? I would want to see a Clone Wars equivalent for the Elder Scrolls world. Just a time period that we just get to see a bunch of perspectives
You
on.
can't see his face, but Quentin is quite intrigued right now. He's sitting there, hand on his face, thinking.
I feel like that would be
I
really
think he
cool. You have
really
a lot
likes
to
this
work with
idea.
there.
well, now I was gonna have an idea, but now I'm thinking about that. Like, that's a good idea.
If anyone ever makes that idea reality, you don't have to give me credit. You don't have to pay me a single goddamn thing. I just wanted it to exist.
I'll take 5% royalties.
For what? You didn't come up with it.
I was in the
He
same
was in
room.
the room. He was in the talking room.
I was in the room.
Listen, nobody else was in the room where it happened. All right.
And I want to be in the room where it happened.
Why? We've referenced too many things in this episode.
I was gonna give an obscure reference earlier, but I was like, nah, I'll refrain.
So what's your idea, Quentin?
Oh man, that one's a really good one. I want to say you took mine, but I'm not clever enough to have come up with that in the first place. Oh man, I was thinking. Oh man, there's so many.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go, you go, and then I'll come up with something.
So my cheat answer, since Matthew got to say his Sly Cooper game multiple times, is probably doing. I was thinking about this earlier. Probably doing another Scooby Doo type thing.
I really thought you were gonna say Kingdom Hearts.
No, I don't want to touch that series. It'd be cool, but that'd be more of an adaptation than like an expansion.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I would like to do either like a sequel to like the old like movies, like the live action ones, like get the cast back or as much as them as I could, or just do like a different type of show. But to not do my cheating question, since I already said talked about Scooby Doo earlier, Quentin and I have been working on some interesting concepts for like Fallout D&D campaigns, and I would love to work on a Fallout show and come up with some ideas for that world, different parts. We were talking about the other night we were talking about a Fallout in Seattle, like with the Space Needle,
Yeah. Yeah.
what the Space Needle would turn into, because the Space Needle was created before the Divergence. So if they created the Space Needle in the Fallout universe, it'd definitely be for some reactor slash surveillance type stuff.
Yeah. It'd have some
I,
crazy
I was
ass
bringing
reason.
up whenever we were talking about it how the original thought I had with the Space Needle was a scene where like either the Brotherhood of Steel or the Enclave are showing up, and whatever our faction is probably has created a city either within the Space Needle or around it. And so it was a scene where they're in the Space Needle and they're looking out and they just see either like a shit ton of vertibirds coming in or like the Prudwin, like the Prudwin showing up, and it's just
Oh,
like that scene of just like, oh no.
Matt, you know the scene in Arkham City where Hugo Strange is looking out on the city from his little tower as it's like getting set on fire.
at the
I was
chaos.
thinking about
Yeah.
like that, but with the Space Needle. Like that'd be so
That would
cool.
be awesome.
But yeah, I'd love to do stuff in that kind of universe. I've never been a fantasy dude, so I don't think I'd touch Elder Scrolls or like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. Granted, Amazon's also making a Lord of the Rings show, so
So with that time, I might have come up with something. So first of all, I would love a show that just lets me experience the characters that I already like love so much more. See them in more situations. So Persona 5.
I fucking knew the second you said characters I'm familiar with, I was like, he's about to say Persona, isn't he?
Well, yeah, because like going from regular Persona 5 to Persona 5 Scrambled or Strikers, there was so much nostalgia there for something that probably shouldn't have. There wasn't enough time to develop nostalgia. I just love those characters. I care about them so much, and so I think Persona 5 as a show, not even one that they're going into the metaverse or anything like that, just
A slice of life
just
anime.
slice of life, like they're chilling, I mean, I realized that there was a little bit of otherworldly stuff going on, but um, Clone High,
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
just stuff's going on. Cool. Okay, I'm totally fine with that. With Persona, that'd be amazing because I just love those characters and I want to see them, you know, more.
That actually is it too late to change my answer?
Go ahead.
I want a spin-off series from Hunter x Hunter that is just about the Phantom Troop. I just want to see the Phantom Troop in their day to day because like we catch them. Uh, Granted, it's like kind of on their usual routine. But then it quickly goes off the rails and then they burn a city to the ground. Um,
As you do.
I just want to see because I love all the characters and Crollo's one of my favorites.
I know there's currently rumors, and if they're true, I'm a little bit excited that they're gonna make a Kingdom Hearts show for Disney Plus. I think it'd be cool to see them maybe add new worlds based on Disney movies that weren't there in the originals. Like just have like some new fresh adventures.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because I think the idea of seeing these characters interact with each other is interesting. The way they've set up Kingdom Hearts is kind of a bummer because it's only technically, the Kingdom Hearts cast that is the original cast, and then Sora, Donald, and Goofy, or Mickey, Donald, and Goofy are like the only Disney characters that can go to other worlds. But it'd be really cool if you could see different Disney movies interacting with each other. Like we get a little bit of that because in the first game, Merlin from The Sword in the Stone and the fairy godmother are hanging out together, and that is still like a thing in the later games.
So you
But
get
that's the
like
most we get.
you get like Ursula and Dr. Facilier.
Yeah, like in the first game, it was like the Disney villains were teaming up, so you got the Disney villains together. They barely interacted with each other though. It was
Yeah,
mostly
yeah.
just Maleficent interacting with all the other ones because she was the leader. But like, there's a lot of stuff you could do with like the different Disney characters interacting with each other and stuff like that. Um, I think it'd be cool if there was like a freaking like, cause in the games for whatever reason, uh, King Triton knows what the Keyblade is, so it'd be cool if there was like council of like leaders from the different worlds that know about everything that's going on.
The
So you,
Brethren Court.
so you have like a
So you got
King,
like the White Lotus organization, yeah.
yeah. So you have like a King Triton. You have like the Emperor from Mulan, and they like all like meet or something, and they're like, okay,
The court is in session.
this is what we got to talk about.
The council is
That
convening.
would be pretty interesting. I, I like all these ideas. Um, I have another though.
Okay.
This one is less thought out. It would have to it would require a lot more.
Is it Treasure Planet?
Well, I mean, I would love that, but no.
Okay.
You said that was off limits.
Yeah, I said you're not allowed because you were leaning into your mic so much. I already knew what you were about to say.
So I think that a show, because it's kind of fresh on my mind, a show for Hades. The
Yes.
thing is that
That'd be
it would
pretty
be kind of
cool.
hard because of the gods in there are pretty terrible. They're all pretty awful people, but
That's
It's
that's
just a family reunion, you know?
it's
this
just a
that's
family
that's that's in
reunion.
everything though. The gods are bad in almost everything.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're talking about
Even
Hercules in the Hercules Disney movie, they're
I
quote
guess.
unquote good guys.
But I mean like even in Percy Jackson, they're not great.
They're also not there the whole time, but if they're having to carry the weight of the show,
Oh, that's true.
that's what I'm saying.
Speaking of which, Percy Jackson is also getting a show.
Yeah, I heard about that. Hopefully, it's better than the movies.
Well, it just
I'm
takes
hoping
talents to
so
make
because
flawed
I
characters.
think it's supposed to be like each season is a book, which is
That's
better.
better. It's a lot better.
You just need the talent to make flawed characters endearing, you know?
Well, yeah, yeah. I don't think it's impossible, and also there are characters already like that aren't the worst. Dionysus and Artemis are pretty okay, but whenever it comes to Zeus talking trash,
I think Athena's not that bad either.
yeah, kind of. It depends on the audio log you get.
Well, yeah, because sometimes she's arguing with Poseidon over something or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. So I feel like that would be interesting as a show. However, maybe it wouldn't have to have all the gods be carrying the weight of the show because instead it would be people like Zagreus and Hypnos.
Hypnos! Sorry, I yelled.
I don't understand why you love Hypno so much,
Yeah, he's
man.
such an
He's
annoying
just
guy.
meat, all right?
But I think that would be pretty interesting. Like even the trailer they showed that was like a cartoon.
Yeah,
Could you imagine an entire show in that style?
yeah.
That'd be pretty
That
cool.
that'd be really cool.
I was thinking that as well as I know you don't play it much, but Destiny has these animations they do that are just like drawn, and I think maybe not an entire like 10 episode show, but that idea I think is really cool to do a show drawn like that.
What if they did a Spider Verse show? Like, like they 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 turned the Ultimate Spider-Man show on Disney into a Spider Verse show, but what if they did like into the Spider Verse show?
Like that style.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be amazing. You know how hard that'd be?
Yes. Do I care though? Because this is a hypothetical.
Hypothetical, unrealistic amount of money, unrealistic amount of time.
It'd be so cool.
I think okay, so Persona, and honestly, if they did Persona in the style of like the Persona games, you know, not even just anime in general, but like how much style that game has, they could do that. Hades, that'd be great. And then I was also thinking about, you know, in Sly Cooper, how they have those little cinematics
Yeah.
Yeah.
where it's like a picture, but there's like one part moving.
Yeah.
If they did like an entire show like that I don't know if that'd be good. That'd be interesting to see.
It'd be cool if they did like a series of shorts like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I could see short. I was about to say that. Yeah, I don't think it could carry like a whole show, but I think as like shorts, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So those are my three, even though you asked for one.
I was glad to allow multiple if it gets those creative juices flowing. But I mean, I suppose if there are any of you guys who are watching this now or in the future, and you guys have any of your own ideas, just put them down in the comments. It'd be cool to look through them, see any ideas you guys may have, or I don't know, 10 years from now when all of these ideas that we have now said out loud have all been stolen from us and have been made. That'd be fun too.
I promise that if I steal any of your ideas, I will give you $1 billion.
Don't say that
Why not?
because you don't have $1 billion to give these people.
Yet, brother. Yet.
Oh,
But no, no, no.
What are
okay.
Please,
you
like, show.
planning?
I can't wait to see your.
Are you robbing some banks?
uh, the law requires that I answer no.
Why'd you say it in that voice?
Listen, all right. We could. Can we just? We
Okay,
don't need to.
so on to our final segment where we talk about what we've been watching, playing, what we've been doing, as well as any recommendations we have for all you guys. I will go first. I've started playing modded Skyrim finally after it taking forever to actually download mods, but that's been fun. I've said a couple times here I don't really like basic Skyrim for a lot of reasons. One, the game is broken, but also just because I don't find a lot of the gameplay that entertaining. But I think a lot of the mods I have had added interesting characters and stuff like that. Uh, I'm not gonna recommend that because that game is old and also it takes forever to mod. Though
It's not
I
gonna
will
be old
mention it
anymore.
here. I'll mention it here. They're making another version of that game, and I don't understand why.
Yep.
Uh, but uh, what I would recommend is I would recommend the Suicide Squad came out a week or two ago, which is the newest version of the Suicide Squad made by James Gunn. Phenomenal film. I would definitely recommend it. Have either of you guys watched it yet? I know Matt, you've seen parts of it.
Yeah, I've seen parts of it, and I am very much put off from watching it. Not for any like merit of the movie. It's just the visual effect
Of a
of
certain character.
a certain character makes my skin crawl,
Yeah, it creeps you out.
and I can't look at it.
I
Actually, that character's in the marketing. Can we say
I don't know. It's a.
what is
I've
it, the
already
bat guy?
what
The bat thing?
bat thing?
bat
Is there
thing.
not a bat in the Suicide Squad?
The Batman.
We kill
The
the Batman.
Batman.
No, there's as far as I know, there's no bat thing in the.
No,
What's that weird looking thing? Uh,
That
I'm
is Idris
sorry.
Elba, sir. You must treat him with
is it
respect.
blue and pink? Is that what you're talking about?
Is it blue and pink?
Are you talking
Do
about?
you know what you're talking about?
I swear it looks
It's
like a
in the
bat.
marketing. I'ma say it. Are you talking about Starro, the starfish thing?
No,
Okay, I
that's
don't know
not
what
what
you're
I'm
talking
talking
about
about.
then.
There's this thing in the trailer where it's like it looks like a bat to me. Is it not a
Are you
bat?
talking about Weasel?
Is it?
I
It,
think you're talking about the Weasel.
it looks like an animal, and it.
Yeah, it's Weasel.
Okay, cool.
He's a weasel.
Is he? Is that why he's named that?
Yeah,
Are you sure he's not a bat named Weasel?
no. What you were talking about a bat for? I was
Like,
like, what is he talking
when
about?
I saw it, I was reminded of in Arkham Knight, the man bat.
Yeah.
That's what I was reminded of. So I always thought that was a bat?
No, it's a weird weasel man thing.
Okay, that's good to know. I am smarter this day.
But yeah, Starro freaks you out, Matt.
Yeah, yeah, it makes my skin
Um,
crawl.
but yeah, you haven't seen it yet though, Quentin, have you?
No, I tried to watch it, but then I couldn't log into your HBO account.
That's
You're
unfortunate.
gonna have to give me that again.
But the other thing I recommend is What If started this past week. A lot of mixed feelings on it so far. I am enjoying it, specifically this last episode, which was the What If T'Challa is Star Lord episode. I felt that one was a lot better paced because it was kind of its own original story versus the first episode, which was Captain Carter, was very much let's try and put all of Captain America into 30 minutes and, change it up in the process. But I've been enjoying it, so I'd recommend that. I'd specifically recommend that to just Marvel fans. I don't know how many people would enjoy that, kind of separate from the Marvel zeitgeist, I suppose. And I guess another forewarning for the Suicide Squad. One, if you're creeped out by ugly looking things like Matt, you might not want to watch it. But also, if you are a bit of you're a bit squeamish when it comes to blood. Um, I mean, if Deadpool and Logan were the two bloodiest superhero movies before, I think they're second and third place now because Suicide Squad is really gory. But you do you guys have any recommendations, Matt?
Yeah. First they need to get the usual one out of the way. Ghost of Tsushima. Go
Are you
play it.
gonna do that
It's a
every
good
week?
game. We've already established that I am. I've
Yeah,
already committed
until
to it.
until the entire world plays it.
Oh yeah, he did say that. Oh, I guess it at least makes sense this week because the new version came out.
It'll make sense every week because it's a beautiful game.
Are you gonna get
Um.
the new version, Matt?
Yes. Uh. Secondly,
I'll
I
ask
would
to borrow
recommend
it.
if you're an anime fan, an anime called Bungo Stray Dogs. It's very nice. Bungou, I think.
We'll put it
OU.
in the description.
Yeah, we'll put it somewhere. But Bungo Stray Dogs is a pretty fun anime. I feel like y'all should check it out. Be wary of the fandom, but it's good
Is
anime.
that not like the regular warning when it comes to like all anime?
No, some anime are
Is
pretty
that
good.
not the regular warning when it comes to literally anything?
That's fair. All fandoms, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going off the basis of all fandoms.
There are some horrible people in every group.
You seen the Undertale fandom?
I have not. I've actively stayed clear of that one.
Good.
But what do you recommend, Quentin?
First of all, I've been playing a lot of Hades. That's why it was fresh in my mind. That game is pretty good. If you haven't played all of Supergiant Games, all their games are great. Play all of them in order today, right now. That's not my recommendation, though. I'm just saying Hades is pretty good.
They're probably cheap, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure they have them in a bundle now because they have 4 games out.
Probably.
So I'm sure you can get a bundle. Honestly, if you got a physical bundle, that'd be pretty cool.
Just like have them like in a little basket.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. You know how like Fallout games, whenever they quote unquote re-released them, they put them in that little nuclear bomb.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that sort of stuff.
Cool little novelty.
Yeah, it's a novelty, but it's like okay, it's a little holder for my games. I like that because I think it looks cool whenever it's on the. I mean, granted, it doesn't fit on the shelf like all other games. You have to put it, on its own little spot.
Speaking of video game, never mind. Well, this is a total digression, but we're ending off here. Sorry.
Gotcha,
Continue.
No, no, no,
gotcha.
no, no. I just want you to say what you were gonna say.
Have we stopped putting like cool art on the back of the paper for game box
Yes,
art?
we have.
Yeah, that was a unanimous decision made by all game companies years ago.
That's a damn shame because I was setting my games up because I just moved, and the Persona 5 game was there, and the people I'm moving in with have their own Persona 5 game. So I was like, I'll just flip it over to the art because I mean it's Persona 5. It's got to have cool art
No,
for it, right? No, it just has blank white, and I was like,
Yeah,
this is.
some of them do. I know Last of Us does.
I know that most like like
Or
Switch
Last
games
of Us
have
Part
it.
Two has like the cool box art on the inside, which is better than the normal box art. Because it's like her in the field.
Yeah,
I do like that one. But yeah, there are some games that still do like interior whatever, but they don't. It's
Games should
unfortunate.
continue to do that. But so I think that you should get all of the Supergiant games.
Of course.
I do agree with you though that game art should be given the respect it deserves. But my recommendation actually for this week is going to be to hang out with your friend group.
What if they don't have friends?
Well then,
Hang out with your friend group, socially distance and masked.
Get vaccinated.
hang
Oh
out
yeah,
with your
get
friend
vaccinated.
group and be irresponsible to yourself and to the world.
Don't tell them to do that. I want to be able to go outside and not have to worry about people dying.
I already have to do that.
That's fair.
What do you do?
You robbing banks?
Why don't you just end it there when he says, "What do you do?"
What do you do?
And then it just ends.
No. So I'm gonna say hanging out with friends. Yeah, do all that health cleansing. Cleansing? That's a horrible way to say it. What is this, goop? Do
Goop.
cleansing. No, do all that healthy stuff. Yeah, don't be gross. Wash your hands. And hang out with your friends.
Brush your teeth. Don't do drugs.
Stay in drugs. Don't do school, kids.
Call your
Unless
mom.
it's like actual medical drugs that you have to take, in which case those are fine
Yeah, just don't take all of them.
at the same time.
Or do.
Don't. Don't.
I don't
do
control
that.
your life.
This is very quickly becoming one of those like two of us tell lies, one of us tells the truth situation. We just give bad advice.
One of us will lie all the time. The door behind me is safe. Like, oh shit.
Both of them say the door behind them is safe.
It's like, which one is it? Yeah, so I'm gonna say hanging out with friends in a responsible manner.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it for this week's episode of the Media Buffering Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you guys want to. Uh, we are currently, we are currently in the process of making social medias, so our Twitter will be linked in the description. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.